everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. Lately over the past few weeks or so, I have been discussing just various random topics just to keep everybody engaged, so I'm not always doing my YouTube series like I'm always doing. And ever since I started working for Chick-fil-A, I have been getting Mondays off, which is hilarious, and also I have noticed that every single time I've worked, or sorry, I had a Monday off, excuse me, Katie has been, working on Mondays, and then they turn around and basically end up sending her home early because it's so stinking slow at the Creation Museum, which is hilarious. But then they end up also giving her Saturdays off, which is hilarious, probably because of the fact that they have more people able to work on Saturday versus on Monday. So it is what it is. But today I was wanting to talk to you guys about something more on the theme park level, but still, completely different than what I'm used to talking to you guys about. Um, to switch things up today, I decided to discuss what is my favorite sit down restaurant at Walt Disney World. So, for those of you who do not know, I was born and raised in Central Florida for 25 years, and I moved to Kentucky about 5 years ago, originally to work for Answers in Genesis, but because of recent events, I voluntarily left on my own, and now I work for Chick fil A at Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport. And it's been, quite a change just working in an airport life, um, just seeing all kinds of different people, and it's always interesting seeing people coming up the escalator and people coming in from the gates on the left and right. Of course, I'm in the busiest of the two terminals, and I meet a lot of international people. So you get all kinds of people at this particular Chick fil A, and because it's an airport location, it's a very limited menu, which is hilarious because the other locations have no limited menus. But either way, my whole life I've always had the privilege of having family and friends that have been able to get me into Disney, Universal, Legoland, so on and so forth, for free over the years. And um, because of the fact that I've been able to get into Disney for free over the years, I've always had extra money that I have been able to put aside towards going out to eat at Disney sit down restaurants. Now, I don't always eat at Disney sit down restaurants because even with cast member friends and family that have been able to use their discount to get me into select Disney restaurants, and even me being a former Disney cast member myself, for those of you who do not know, and with my Disney discounts that I've used to have, it still costs a lot of money to eat at a Disney sit down restaurant, but gradually over the years, I have eaten at various Disney sit down restaurants. And not only am I going to sit down and tell you guys every single one I've ever eaten at over the years, but I'm also going to tell you guys which one of those is my personal favorite. But I decided to do a different kind of intro than I normally would. Starting with the one I've actually eaten at more than any of the Disney sit down restaurants in my entire life. Get ready for this: 50's Primetime Cafe, which is located at Disney's Hollywood Studios at Echo Lake, or on Echo Lake, whatever. So, for those of you who do not know, 50's Primetime Cafe is literally themed after a 1950s style house. And it's a really neat experience because of the fact that you come into this restaurant and everything and everyone is literally supposed to make you feel like you're back in the 1950s. I mean, How cool is that, right? Now, with Hollywood studios taking a completely different turn, with the whole theming, like half of the park being Star Wars, half of the park being Toy Story, it makes you wonder how much longer this particular restaurant is going to be around for. And with that being said, it's going to be sad when and if it does ever get pulled out. But the reason why I've always liked this particular restaurant is not just because of the homestyle cooking that they offer, but because of the extreme efforts that Disney World goes to making you feel like you are actually in a 1950s style home. I mean, they literally bring you in. Everything in there is 1950s memorabilia. They have a TV, a black and white TV for that matter, at every single table. And for that matter, everything you're going to eat, or you're served for that matter, is basically what you're going to, or what you would have eaten back in the 1950s. They even go as far as having the whole no elbows on the table. Your server will even go to that extent to remind you you're not allowed to eat with your elbows on the table. Your servers and the entire kitchen staff are wearing costumes specifically designed to that decade. It's extremely impressive. I love Disney World for that matter. And I always love going to this particular restaurant because of the fact that it's the only restaurant on Disney World property that sells a milkshake known as the peanut butter and jelly milkshake. Now, back during the pandemic, Disney World decided to release the recipe to the internet, and I was one of the many that snatched up the recipe and basically spent countless hours. Well, not really that, but I spent at least an hour or two altogether just trying to get the recipe right. Altogether, if you guys are ever wondering how many times I actually made the milkshake over the past 4 years, I would say about 10 times. Which, honestly, is not many compared to how many times Disney World has made that milkshake. But if you think about it, it's still a lot. And it's, really, really good for a Disney World recipe. So, I actually released the recipe to the internet on my YouTube channel. And if you're ever interested in looking it up, it is on my YouTube channel. How to make the 50s Primetime Cafe peanut butter and jelly milkshake. I literally don't just tell you how to make it, I show you how to make it. And I did this milkshake actually here at my parents' place, my current parents' place. So I didn't do it that long ago, but I did it long enough that, it's obvious that I've been living here the entire time that it's been on the internet. So I think that says a lot right there. So my next restaurant that I ever uh, ate at was also a Hollywood Studios, and it's actually right next to another current sit-down restaurant, former quick service restaurant called, well, the restaurant I'm referring to. Oh, Katie just got here. Hi, Katie. The quick service restaurant I'm referring to is called ABC Commissary now as a sit-down restaurant. Yes, there is Katie in
Hi.
her work uniform, but and she's exhausted. She's gonna go take a nap, which is hilarious because she gets to sleep in.
I didn't sleep great last night.
Oh, she didn't sleep great last night, but I still think it's hilarious because she gets to sleep till 7:30, and I'm fortunate if I get to sleep in at all because my schedule varies between having to get up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, or even 4 in the morning now, and I'm just like, ugh. Airport life, hashtag airport life. Oh, Katie, just so you know, your laundry is in the dryer. It's all dry and ready to go. She's over there petting the cat right now, my brother's cat. So, anyway, the restaurant I'm referring to is called Sci-Fi Dining Theater, and this is a really unique restaurant because, yeah, that's fine. They bring you into a California-style drive-in theater, and even though it's not actually a drive-in theater, it's supposed to be a replica of one, and of course, they go to the far extent of having it look like it's always nighttime. They have the artificial palm trees. Well, it's supposed to make it look like it's real. They even have a bunch of early 1900s style cars in there with tables inside them. Obviously, they're not real cars, as they have tables in them and they don't have an engine in them. And they have a giant, fully operational style movie theater screen that is playing repeat clips from early 1900s science fiction films and shorts and whatnot. So even Tom and Jerry is featured there. And this is your average American cuisine restaurant, sit down restaurant once again. So you're going to be getting like hamburgers and the whole 9 yards. They got milkshakes once again. As far as atmosphere is concerned, I absolutely love this restaurant because it really feels like you are in a drive-in theater at night, minus the bugs and all that. The service is absolutely amazing. It really feels like you're at one of those with, obviously far better service than you would receive in your average, whatever you call it, drive-in theater. But the one critique I have to give this place, and this is the first time you guys have actually heard me make a critique about a Disney restaurant, is the fact that you honestly don't get a lot of space. So Disney is really good about bringing you your drinks constantly, and I noticed that even at this restaurant. They are constantly making sure you have enough to drink on your table, but I do have a problem with the fact that your table is so small, and it's like, where am I supposed to put everything? I mean, I love the fact that this particular park has Shirley Temples, which, for those of you who do not know, it is an old fashioned soda drink with like a fruit flavoring to it or whatever. It's hard to describe. And you can still buy it in stores like Kroger, Meijer, Jungle Gyms, and Disney World, of course. And, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to fight between getting to my food, which is directly in front of me, and then, of course, I got a whole pile of glasses, because they're trying to constantly not just bring you drinks, but they're trying to constantly take away your cups too. But because I'm drinking faster than they're bringing away the drinks. It's kind of hard, and you're probably wondering, like, David, why are you so thirsty? Well, for those of you who do not know me, when I'm down, excuse me, when I'm down in Florida, I drink a lot of fluids, and I already drink a lot of fluids in general. But in Florida, I drink 10 times as many because of the fact that it's so hot and I'm walking around so much that I'm just like, give me something to drink. It's. So, anyway, if the table was just a tad bit bigger, I probably would like to experience more. So, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now this restaurant is not my favorite. It's not even in my top favorites, but it is a restaurant I have eaten at least 5 times. But it's not a restaurant I've eaten at as many times as 50 Springtime Cafe. If you guys will just excuse me for a couple minutes, I have to use the restroom, bathroom, whatever. All right, sorry about that. So, moving on to Animal Kingdom, my next restaurant is actually Rainforest Cafe. I have eaten at the Rainforest Cafe only one time, Now, I wouldn't say it's my least favorite, but um, it's not a restaurant I honestly prefer to eat at. So, I ate at the Rainforest Cafe about 5 years ago. A former coworker of mine, is how I'm gonna put it, took me to that particular location. I used to eat at the Disney Springs location a lot, but I never actually ate at the actual Rainforest Cafe. What I ate at was actually Rainforest Cafe's Lava Lounge, which really doesn't count. But I have eaten at Rainforest Cafe at Animal Kingdom a lot over the years. I mean, only the one time over the years, and that once again that was like 5 years ago. And honestly, for a $40 to $60 meal, I wouldn't say it was memorable by any means. I mean, theming wise, it's really impressive. It really feels like you are in an actual rainforest. But as far as food quality and service, it's not amazing. It is not owned by Disney World, for those of you who do not know. Um, Actually, Rainforest Cafe is a third party company that pays Disney a lot of money just to have a location there. But it is a really unique restaurant, but I am still classifying it as a Disney World restaurant, as it is still on my Disney experience for those of you who do not know. So, I mean, I personally wouldn't eat there again, but I wouldn't also say no if someone offered me a free meal there. And I kind of feel the same way about this next restaurant, which is not in the parks, but I'm gonna go ahead and go to it next just because I kind of feel the same way about it. I've eaten at another restaurant called Planet Hollywood at least twice in my life, but I only remember the second time, which was after the renovation. And this restaurant's called Planet Hollywood, and that is actually at Disney Springs. Now, Planet Hollywood, I ate at about 6 years ago in 2018, and that was actually with some close friends of my mom's and myself, for that matter. They are from Western Ontario, and they really wanted to go to Planet Hollywood, so we went there. Theming was not honestly that great. I mean, it was interesting. It reminded me a lot of a certain restaurant in Universal called um, Hard Rock Cafe. In that sense, the service probably was along the same lines as well. It's a lot like a giant bar, more than a restaurant. I mean, don't get me wrong, the food at both Hard Rock Cafe Universal and at Planet Hollywood were really good, but I go by three different things: food, service, atmosphere. And in order for me to be extremely impressed by a Disney World restaurant, or a Universal restaurant for that matter, I need to be extremely impressed by all three of those. And for the first restaurant, I was extremely impressed by the food, the atmosphere, and the service. And that's why it's definitely up there with my favorite restaurants. Number two, I was extremely impressed by the food and the service and the atmosphere, it but still there is one more factor that I can add on there if I really wanted to, and that's the comfort level. And I am gonna give that particular restaurant one more um, indication that I was not impressed by, and that was comfort level, and that was right at a one. Um, and if I really wanted to add on the comfort level, then I'm just gonna go ahead and start using that from now on. So okay, I'm gonna use four indications, and that's comfort as well. So, um, 50's Prime Time Cafe, you got my comfort level all the way. Rainforest Cafe, food was a 3. Service, 3 again, so average. Atmosphere, 5. Comfort, 3. So, it is what it is. But Planet Hollywood, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that the food was an easy 3 to 4. The service was a 3. The comfort was about a 2 to 3. And then finally, the service was an easy 3 as well. It's not one of those restaurants you really want to just run to, but it is a unique restaurant to eat at least one time. Also, over at Disney Springs, there are other sit down restaurants that I really enjoy visiting, but I wouldn't say that I have ever eaten there. I mean, I've visited the Edison, which supposedly is a really nice sit down restaurant, but I've never actually eaten there per se, so it's definitely on my bucket list. Now, going back to the parks, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go over to Epcot next, and Epcot has been the park I've eaten the most sit down restaurants at, so we're going to go through this a little quicker since I'm going over 20 minutes now. And we're going to start with Future World. So, one restaurant I've really wanted to eat at is Garden Grill Buffet. Now, my parents might have said I've eaten there a long time ago, but I don't remember it, so we're going to skip that. My parents might have also said I've eaten at the Coral Reef restaurant. Once again, that was a long time ago. I don't remember it, so I'm going to skip that. But I do know for a fact that over a World Showcase, I have eaten at Le Cellier, and once again, that was a long time ago, but it was still, memorable enough that I can safely say that the food, easy 5-star, or just 5 out of 5. And the service, 5. The comfort, I'm gonna say about a 3, and I'm gonna say atmosphere a 3. Moving on now to Rose and Crown Pub. I know for sure I've eaten here at least 5 times over the years. Rose and Crown easily gets me a 5 for food. I always enjoy going to Rose and Crown Pub because they have some amazing food. As far as atmosphere is concerned, this one is a hard one, and I'm going to say 3, unfortunately, because honestly, it really just depends on when you go and where they put you. I mean, if you sit outside, it's actually an easy 5, unless, of course, it's cold out, then forget it. But if you sit outside and it's a really pretty day, it's an easy 5. But if they stick you inside and they stick you inside when it's really busy outside, then it's going to lean more towards 1. So it's just one of those instances where it's like, I don't know, do I really like eating here or do I not like eating here, As far as service is concerned, I have never had any issues with this restaurant before, so I'm going to give it a 5. And then comfort, 3 again, because it once again just depends on when and where they stick you. Moving on to Le Chefs de France. I have eaten there one time that was once again about 6 years ago, give or take. And the food was an easy 5, especially if you use the Disney dining plan, which my friends were gracious enough to let us share their Disney dining plan. And it really makes it worthwhile. And I'll tell you right now, I really enjoyed using the Disney dining plan. I really did. It really made that much of a difference, in my opinion. So, using the Disney dining plan, I was able to get a free drink, a free appetizer, free entree, and then a free dessert. And I really felt like I really got the most out of their money, which, I didn't go to get a free meal, but it was still nice enough that they did that for me. And I'll tell you right now, I would definitely eat there again. So, going back to the rating system, food 5, service 5. They were going above and beyond. Comfort 5, and atmosphere. I wouldn't say it was the best atmosphere I've ever had, so I'm gonna go with a 3 on that one. So unfortunately, it's not my favorite, but it was still, good enough. I would go there again. And if you really, really wanted to add this, um, I am this marker on there, which I'm not, but you could also go by price. And I'm gonna say right now, out of all those restaurants I have mentioned so far, 50's Primetime Cafe is still the cheapest out of all those restaurants. Le Chess de France is the most expensive restaurant I have mentioned so far, which is the biggest turnoff I've had about all those restaurants. I have also eaten at the Italy restaurant. The food, not so great. I would give it a 2. The service was a 3. I don't remember the service being that great. Um, the atmosphere, 2. It's not one I would write home about. It really would not be. Comfort, 2. And price, it's expensive. It's really expensive. And I feel like La Chaise de France definitely is where the money needs to go. So, I'm glad I've only eaten at the Italy restaurant one time, and that's exactly how it's going to stay, too, for that matter. Um, just trying to think here. I've eaten at a lot of Epcot restaurants. I really have over the years. I've eaten at Los Angeles Inn, the Mexico restaurant. I've eaten at La Hasadina. Um, Honestly, out of those two, I definitely am more impressed by the one inside the actual Mexico Pavilion than the other one. The other one I ate at about 5-6 years ago, and that one's outside. That one I'm not so impressed by because it strikes me more as a quick service restaurant, so I'm immediately going to skip over that one. But the other one's definitely a sit-down restaurant. Atmosphere, easy 5. It really feels like you're outside in Mexico at night, and it's kind of neat seeing the boats going by. Um, as far as the service is concerned, I really feel like they really try hard to cater to your every need. The food is not as much to write home about. I don't remember the food being that great, to be honest. So I'm gonna give the food about a 2 or a 3. Now, comfort, it really just depends on how comfortable you are with people on the boat ride next to you staring at you while you're eating. So for me, I don't care so much, so I'm going to say a 5. But you might not care so much. So if I were to generalize it on a public stance, I would say a 3. Because it really just depends on the person. Like, do you enjoy being stared at while you're eating? Probably not. So, it really just depends. But you know what's funny? Every time I have ever gone on that boat ride, the Three Amigos boat tour, or whatever you call it, the Grand Fiesta tour, to be more specific, I've always seen people eating at that restaurant. It's insane. And I'm just like, wow, is there ever nobody eating? And I always hear the forks and the knives clattering. It's hilarious. Another restaurant I've always wanted to eat at is the German restaurant. I think that would be a really neat experience. I have actually eaten at a German restaurant in my lifetime, believe it or not. So there is a German restaurant here in northern Kentucky and Newport, and I was actually really impressed. I thought the show that the entertainment show that they had was going to be really bad, and it's actually it's actually on my YouTube channel on my Kentucky playlist. But it was not bad at all. I was really impressed. I was like, wow, that is really cool. But it's here and there. So finally going over to Magic Kingdom. So a long time ago when Cinderella's royal table used to be called King Stephen's, they did have a much better theme in my opinion, and they had a really good dessert to go with it. So I'm not going to count this one just because of the fact that this restaurant is now irrelevant. But back then, if this restaurant still existed, I would definitely say, heck yeah, this restaurant is definitely one of my favorites. So I am going to mention, yes, back then I did eat at that restaurant, but because of the fact that the restaurant got rethemed and everything, I'm going to skip right over it. But I am going to move on to a now relevant current restaurant called Tony's Diner. So the food is an easy three. It's your average Italian restaurant. It's not genuine, but it's not horrible either. Atmosphere, if you don't mind being and tucked away in a corner restaurant, then you probably won't mind it so much. They're always playing something Lady and the Tramp in the lobby. The lobby is actually a lot nicer than the actual restaurant itself, believe it or not. I mean, don't get me wrong, the restaurant isn't bad, but it's not great either. So, atmosphere, I would say average, again, 3. Service, I would definitely put the service at a 3 as well. I mean, once again, it's not horrible, but it's not great either. And I would finally put comfort at about a 3 as well, unfortunately. So, Magic Kingdom definitely has a lot of quick service restaurants, but it has some sit down restaurants. I mean, for crying out loud, I've always wanted to eat at Jungle Cruise Skipper Canteen. I always thought that would be kind of a neat restaurant, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I have eaten at the Crystal Palace, so finally, about 4 years ago for TJ's birthday. And I'll tell you right now, for the $200+ that I spent on that meal, or whatever the heck I spent, it was actually a really decent meal. Would I do it again? Yes. I think the Crystal Palace is well worth the money. And the reason why it's so expensive is because it is a character buffet. And the Crystal Palace does have your average American cuisine. Now, as far as the price is concerned, I think the price is perfect for the atmosphere and the entertainment that's involved, but for your food definitely is not that great. It really is not. I think the food is definitely a ripoff, but as far as everything else is concerned, I definitely feel like I got my money's worth. And that's why I'm still going to give it a high rating. So, food, 3. Service was an easy 5. Our waitress was absolutely incredible. The atmosphere was an easy 5. The comfort, I would say, was a 3 to 4. And then, of course, the value of the value of the entire experience was an easy 5 as well. And I would definitely do it again. Now, moving on to the Disney resorts, and this is where it's going to get really interesting. So, we're going to start with the one I haven't eaten in a very long time. Believe it or not, when I was a kid, I used to eat at a restaurant called Chef Mickey's. And when I was a kid, I thought it was like the bee's knees. I thought it was so good. But honestly, looking back at it as an adult now, it's not that good. It really is not. And I would easily give Chef Mickey's a 2 food. The service, 3. I mean, it's a buffet. What do you expect? I mean, but at the same time, it's not a great buffet. Disney has some really good buffets on property, but this is not one. Comfort, 3. Now, atmosphere, I would put this one out of 5 because it's not a bad atmosphere. It really is not. And it's actually a really good place to go see the fireworks, especially if it's like it's your kid's birthday party. So, if you're really wanting to watch Happily Ever After, this place is actually really neat to go eat at. Now, the California Grill, I have eaten at a long time ago, and I don't remember it for the life of me, but that is going to be your top choice when it comes to wanting a really, really nice place as an adult to eat at. And trust me, you're not going to go wrong with California Grill. And it's definitely going to be easier to get into California Grill than Top of the World Lounge, which, trust me, I have been to Top of the World Lounge too. And I was kind of an idiot, and I was so focused on seeing the fireworks that I didn't even think about going over to vlog the chocolate cake that they have chocolate slices like this hot, this high, this big, whatever. I should have, but keep in mind, I had only been YouTubing for like a year or two at the time, so I was still learning. That's why, that's why I always like to tell everybody, sorry, that my YouTube channel back then, the quality was not that great, but the quantity was on top of it. Like, I was YouTubing constantly. I had all the places I needed to vlog at. I just didn't have the knowledge, let alone the great film equipment back then. Now I have all the film equipment and the knowledge, but now I don't have the right resources. So my YouTube channel has kind of gone. I get constant messages from Indians all the time, and they tell me all the time, "Oh, your YouTube channel is amazing, but my SEO score is low," and I'm aware of that. But at the same time, I don't have the funds to get my YouTube channel up and running the way they want me to because of the fact that my YouTube channel is not for profit. I pay everything out of my own pocket for my YouTube channel. I do not earn any money off of you guys whatsoever, just so you know. So, whenever I go down to Florida, you guys don't pay for me to go do that, anything like that. I pay money out of my own pocket. Anytime I fly with Southwest, that's money coming out of my own pocket. You guys don't pay anything like that. Anyway, moving on. So, now we're going to move on to another restaurant that I ate at for my 21st birthday, actually 10 years ago, believe it or not. This restaurant is called Jiko, the Cooking Place, at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And this restaurant is really, really good. And a typical meal there can easily cost $200. I'm not even kidding. And um, I always enjoy eating at Jiko every single time I go there. And, which honestly, I've only been there one time. Once again, that was like 10 years ago. But if somebody offered to take me again, hands down, I would go. It is on the opposite side of Boma, so I know exactly how to get there, which is also, once again, at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And Jiko has some really good lamb. So if you like lamb, go to Jiko. It is an African style restaurant, so you cannot go wrong. Now, next is actually the other restaurant I just mentioned, which is Boma. So Boma is an African style buffet, and it is definitely one of my top favorite restaurants on Disney property. And once again, it's at a Disney resort. So Boma is another restaurant I have filmed at. as well as Ohana, and I don't remember where else I've honestly filmed as far as Disney restaurants are concerned, but I do know. Oh yeah, Crystal Palace. I forgot about that, but I do know that Boma is really really good. You can get some good food. You can really get full, and they give you your money's worth. And I have only eaten at Boma twice in my lifetime, but I've honestly enjoyed both times very, very, very much. That I every single so from the two times I have gone, and I can tell you straight up, the beginning of the buffet line is my absolute favorite section, and they do have a good section, believe it or not, and they have some good soup too. But as far as the rating is concerned, food 5, service 5. Last time I went, my service was not as good, but overall, I would say the service is 5. The atmosphere 5 and comfort is an easy 5 as well. So it's definitely up there. All right, it's all come down to this moment, to the final restaurant, and then we finally get to narrow down to what is my favorite Disney World sit down restaurant. So, moving on to the very last restaurant, Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Resort. I have also eaten at twice. Oh, and I did forget to mention another restaurant I have eaten at. So, first, you already know about Ohana. So, first and foremost, let's move over to Wilderness Lodge at not Echo Lake, Bay Lake, over by Magic Kingdom and Fort Wilderness and all that. So this restaurant I filmed at more than any of the Disney World restaurants, and this one is called Whispering Canyon Cafe. Whispering Canyon Cafe does have buffet style entrees, and it is now a buffet style restaurant in the sense that they do bring you buffet food to your table. In that sense, it's like Ohana. Now, Wilderness Lodge does not have, you know, the greatest buffet in the world now than it used to. So pre-COVID, I really felt like Whispering Canyon Cafe used to be a lot better. I mean, for crying out loud, pre-COVID, you had a lot more entrees. It was a lot cheaper. But since COVID has happened, their prices have gone up astronomically high, and they've removed a lot of their cheaper options off the menu. And now it's basically all you care to enjoy skillets, and that's it. And their milkshakes are so ridiculously high now, it's not even funny. It really is not. And I love this restaurant. I love the atmosphere. Easy 5 service. Honestly, I have to give this one a 3 because the service there can really just waver, in my opinion. But the food, easy 5. Easy. And the price, well, if I had to add that on, I would say a 3 as well. But now we're gonna finally move on to Ohana. My final thoughts on Whispering Canyon Cafe is, if you like a loud, noisy restaurant where you can yell for ketchup and everybody brings you ketchup, go for it. If you like a restaurant where they can make you all you care to enjoy hand spun milkshakes, go for it as well. But that's just me. So Ohana is basically a Polynesian themed buffet where they start you out with some bread, then they move on to salad, then they move you on to shish kebabs. And I actually just filmed at this restaurant last July, and it is one of those restaurants that I never get tired of eating at. And I'm actually going to go film there again in September 2025 for breakfast. And I'm really looking forward to it because Katie is really excited about meeting Stitch, so that's actually why I'm going for breakfast time. So you have a choice between going at dinner time and no character buffet, or you can go at breakfast time and get a character buffet. And some people say the character buffet is by far better. And ironically, the breakfast is actually cheaper, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Um, so, as of right now, it's hard for me to make the final decision on whether Ohana is my favorite restaurant or not, only because I have not eaten there for breakfast. But I still have to rate it. So, right now, their food, easy 5. I always eat too much and then I end up getting sick to my stomach. And I'm like, that kind of thing. And then the service, easy 5. I really feel like they go to the ends of the earth, especially for Katie. If her being gluten free, they really tried hard for her. And I really love that about them. They also were extremely accommodating. I specifically requested a specific area of the restaurant, and they had no issues whatsoever accommodating for us. Um, Atmosphere, I really enjoyed the atmosphere last time, so easy 5. And I enjoyed the atmosphere last time, easy 5 as well. I've eaten at Ohana maybe 3 times in my lifetime already, but I know for sure 2 so far. And as far as the price is concerned, I think the price is definitely well worth it. It's like $40 to $50 a person. And that might seem like a lot to you guys, but for the quality of the food, it is honestly well worth it. It really is. So, honestly, I could have spent a little bit more time talking about each restaurant, but I wanted to go through it at a relatively quick pace because already this vlog is like 50 minutes long, give or take. So, to wrap up this vlog, to conclude everything, what was my favorite restaurant? And it's a tie, in my opinion, between 50's Primetime Cafe, Ohana, and Boma. And honestly, if I had to choose between any of those 3, I would honestly have to go with Boma. I know, that seems weird, right? But the reason why I am going to go ahead and choose Boma is because of the fact that Boma, even though they do have a breakfast selection as well, which I really shouldn't choose Boma because I haven't eaten their breakfast yet, is because A, I don't have a reason to eat there for breakfast, and B, because their dinner is so impressive that I never get tired of it. At Boma, their prices are actually very reasonable. Like, more so than Ohana. And there's no entertainment, there's no dinner entertainment, which I'm not saying that Disney shouldn't have dinner entertainment for their restaurants, but it's not always necessary, not in my opinion anyway. Ohana is almost impossible to get reservations for. Boma, never had problems with it. And I love that about that place. And I also really love Boma for the fact that your drinks are also included. So, Boma is just one of those places that's always going to be special in my heart. Don't get me wrong, I love 50's Primetime Cafe, but for a sit down restaurant, it's just gotten too expensive to eat at over the years. So, there we go. That is what is my favorite Disney World sit down restaurant in a 15-minute video, vlog, whatever. I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.